morning, welcome to this Mark's Reviews and Tutorials video. We've got a fan that when you turn it on, isn't particularly energetic and is hardly spinning at all. So with fans like this, there is no repair on them. If it's happened to got a whole lot of hair on it or jammed up or something like that, sure, you can free it up again. But normally it's just a matter of you have to pull them out and replace them. Now this fan casing here is a bit large. If you've got a smaller round one, you can take the cover off and then measure the actual size because these are very DIY. Even though they're up in the roof, most of the time they've actually got a plug on them and they're plugged in to something. Very rare that they're hardwired. So therefore it's fully legal and safe for you to switch this out yourself and simply plug it in. If it's hardwired, totally different. Don't do that. But if you've got a plug up there and you're just plugging in one item and plugging out another, then you can switch it out. So the procedure is, have a listen to it. Not supposed to drone like that. It's not sucking any air anymore. So she's done. Cover off. Be very careful with that. These are just mounted into the plaster, so you can't just reef them off. If you pull it and it's tight, you've got to find where the clips are, work it out and get it off. But normally there's a cover comes off, then you'll see the rest of the fan. And yeah, sometimes this can all be done from inside the house, but I would expect I'd need to get up into the roof space and have a look. Up in the roof space, there is normally, it's just often a cardboard box, but something out there to keep the insulation away from the fan and keep everything else away. And it's also good to get up there and have a look. If you're going to DIY it, just give it an inspect. Just check out that everything's okay and that there's no blockages and that everything's looking the part. Okay, so we've pulled the cover off. It just pulled straight down. Not a problem at all. It's clipping onto these guys here. And then I did have to get a ladder in order to get up there and get at this to make it safe. And then just checking the bearings on the fan there. You see, you give it a spin. It's feral, but it's a bathroom fan, so it's going to be. It's not the bearings, it's still free to spin. The motor, when you turn it on, doesn't get up to speed. It's not the bearings, it's the way you give it a spin with the finger. You can tell it's not like it's jammed up or tight, or that's what the problem is. So this just means that it needs to be replaced. If there was hair caught in it or something like that, you could clean it out, but the motor's just not getting up to speed anymore. So we're going to give it a replace. You can see when you turn it off, it takes a long time to spin down. So, not the bearings, not any entrapment. Okay, so just a screwdriver, there's a little Phillips head, screwdriver head there. Undoing these, they loosen off a little bit and then they turn around. They are obviously activating these clips here which hold the fan up and in position. So as they relax, as those little levers pull around, then the fan can go. The fan has dropped out and you can see the hole here, and even, look at that, a plug where a standard Australian plug plugs in up into the ceiling. So we can now measure the hole and we're free to put in whatever fan we want to buy that fits in that size round hole and is going to plug into the wall there. Okay, so we've chosen ourselves a new fan. A tip with fans, the ones with eco or draft shutters here it talks about, you can see on the back of the new fan it's got these shutters which tip up and tip down. That stops so much heat from going out when the fan's not on, and it stops draft from blowing in, making this a very bad heat loss point. We've gone for a round, even though the other one was square, the hole is round. And as you can see here, I measured the hole before we went down to get another one, and we've bought the 250. 250 was a very common size, and the cutout size says 295, and my hole was like 280, 285. So we'll see if that's going to fit in at a pinch. We may have to make it a little bit bigger, but yeah, it's going to be easy, straight in. It's got a plug, same little spin around catches you can see here on the side to hold it in place. So again, don't even have to get into the roof space to change this fan out. Okay, so this fan is a little bit bigger, but it only needs to be bigger where the little clips are. So I'm actually just cutting it out. Just got a knife, a cutting knife, and I'm just cutting the plaster, just keying it back in those areas. just those 3 spots where it needs to be a little bit wider, rather than cutting the whole thing that much wider. Then I'll be able to slip it in, turn the locks up, and we'll have it. But yeah, the whole thing, I'm not going to have to get up into the roof. The plug's right there, I can reach it, I can see it. So we'll plug it in, and then once we can clip it up, do the screws up, do it up, put the cover on, and she's done. Okay, so most of the install's done. That's screwed up. It's very important with those little latches on the side that you don't put the screw up past it, because the little bumps actually hold the latch out straight, so it'll then clip down onto the plaster. So you got to get all that lined up, and that's a matter of not screwing the little black clip on the top up too far so that it can flop around past the bump, because then it just does that and it doesn't hold the fan in place. Now this is an IXL here, IXL vent flow. I do not recommend you buy one of these. It's the Eco, as I said on the box, because it has those little flips on the back that stop the drafts and all the rest of it. But this 250mm fan, they had them in Bunnings for, $20, $22. This one was $61, so it's 3 times the price. But it is not 3 times the fan. It does have that little flip thing on the back to stop, but it's very China, cheap and nasty. These little clips here, where it spins on to clip on, at this point, I have not yet been able to get it on. I've had probably 5 goes. I've loosened off my screws to create a little bit more space. I've bent these up a little bit so that they can get on and get a start, but absolute pain in the butt. And this is just so flimsy and so little. And this is the bit that has to be pulled off and on if you're going to clean it. And with these little plastic things here, I guarantee they are going to snap off and break. As a matter of fact, that one there's already come loose on that edge. Look at that. So IXL vent flow, I do not recommend. They're just built too much down to price, and I've paid 3 times the price for it, so I did expect more. So I'll keep persevering and get it on, but it's going to be an absolute pain every time you want to take this off to give it a clean.